The concept of creeds, pledges, and oaths has existed for centuries, but what exactly does it mean to pledge allegiance to the United States? Why should we pledge allegiance to the United States? And what exactly does that Pledge of Allegiance mean? Also, how long has this tradition existed?
In the 1950s, the pledge underwent a notable change with the inclusion of the phrase, "under God." The reasons behind this addition, made relatively late in our nation's history, remain somewhat ambiguous. One interpretation ties it to America's Christian origins, suggesting that under God signifies a belief that our rights are God-given, as articulated in the Bill of Rights and other constitutional protections. Rights enshrined in the Constitution, not rights given by the Constitution. This inclusion not only reinforces the authority of the Constitution, but also distinguishes the United States from self-professedly atheist regimes like the Soviet Union and Communist China. This differentiation was particularly highlighted during that era, serving as a symbolic contrast to ideologies that did not acknowledge the divine foundation for individual human rights.
You might be familiar with other pledges, creeds, and oaths that are like the Pledge of Allegiance, which is a type of creed or oath. For example, there is the Hippocratic Oath for doctors, nurses, and medical personnel, where they swear to take good care of their patients, respecting the patient's consent and privacy. Everyone in the military has to take an oath to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and so on. However, for whatever reason, they decided that even after one gets out of the military, one is still beholden to that oath. Though why somebody who is not in the military has a burden to defend the Constitution from enemies, and how exactly one is meant to do that as a private citizen, is also a question.
When I was a teenage child, I refused to take communion until I became an adult. This wasn't true for everyone I knew. There were other teenage children who would take communion. Now that I'm older, I do take communion when it's conducted and participate in it. But taking communion was something I refused to do as a teenage child because I had the option not to, and I didn't think a teenage child could make that decision. I knew that even as a teenage child. Different people feel differently about it. Certainly, the parents whose teenage children took communion didn't judge me for refusing to do so until I was older, even if their teenage children did judge me a little and I them.
To avoid getting too sidetracked, why is it that children would need to take an oath of allegiance to the United States? As an adult, I don't really seek validation from children, or have an expectation of children to hold any kind of meaningful allegiance to the United States. They're just children. What does their allegiance actually entail? When you join the army, you have an option to not swear the oath and not join. Even if you're that late in the process, you can decide to walk away from it. A child really doesn't have that option.
For our final point, let's consider this one teacher who took it upon themselves to remove the American flag from their classroom that they work at and replace it with the LGB flag, which represents the homosexual movement. That person had their students, child students, pledge allegiance to the LGB flag. Here's a video of that.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I gotta find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and goes, oh, that one?
If you're conservative, you're obviously opposed to the LGB flag, and especially to children pledging their allegiance to the LGB flag. Hopefully, everybody would feel that way, but there are people who just aren't on that side of the fence.
In conclusion, these aren't some deeply held set of beliefs I hold, and I am very open to hearing your opinion on the matter in the comment section. I just wanted to make a video with some very talented voice artists, and I hope you enjoy it.
If you enjoyed the video, I challenge you to indicate as much by pressing the like button. Be sure you subscribe and thank the people who worked on this video in the comments section.
What did the American flag say to the Mexican flag? They didn't say anything, they just waved. NatorGreen out.